Has this ever happened to you? Wow. Today in the back shop, we're going to show you how to modify Lionel's most popular post-war and MPC operating cars so that those pickup hot shoes will not hang up on your high rail switches. There's a big difference between Lionel switches in the post-war era and today's high rail turnouts. The high rail turnouts have flat rails on top where the Lionel switches had rolled curved rails. Lionel's operating cars with the pickup shoe had a beveled side on the pickup shoe right here, but the ends were fairly blunt. Here's the standard Lionel pickup shoe. On the right are the bevels that we're going to put on that shoe that will prevent it from hanging up on any high rail switch so that you'll never have that problem again. Now the bill of materials for this job is pretty short. All we need is a Dremel tool with a grinding wheel, and if you don't have one, you can use a small file. And we need 2 small pieces of balsa wood, approximately 3/32 square, to support the pickup shoe while we do the grinding or the filing. We're going to put one of the pieces of balsa wood under the end of the pickup shoe to hold it away from the truck so that we can file or grind it. Put the second piece of wood under the back end of the same pickup shoe, like that. The tool that we want to use is any round Dremel tool with a flat surface, like this one. When you're finished, the bevel should look something like this. The grind that you put on it should be as close to the rivet without actually touching it on the top side, and on the bottom side it should not go past the end of the shoe. If you're a little concerned about using a Dremel tool on the Lionel car, you can use a file. It's a little bit slower, but you have better control. The finished product should look something like this. We have a bevel on both ends of the shoe so that no matter which direction the car goes, it's not going to hang up on the high rail switches. Now that we've finished with our dump car, let's go in and try it on the layout. Well, it looks like we've solved that problem rather well. The car rolls through the switch beautifully. But wait a minute, what was that? Well, it looks like our modified accessory shoe is now contacting a hot rail in the switch. We're going to take a short break, and then I'll be right back to show you how to fix this problem too.
An O-Gauge Railroading Digital Subscription is your online window to a new world of O-Gauge railroading. Every digital issue has extra pages and pictures for you to enjoy in the OGR Digital Library. With an O-Gauge Railroading Digital Subscription, you can read every issue we have ever published, over 340 issues. You can download issues for offline reading. You get a free membership in the OGR Forum, free access to OGR videos, Backshop videos with Jim Barrett, layout videos, how-to videos, and you also get free access to the OGR 3D Project catalog and free access to 3D Project downloads. Click the link in the description to get your OGR Digital Subscription today.
In the previous segment, we solved the problem of the Lionel operating cars derailing on high rail switches. But in the process, we discovered a new problem. Every once in a while, the hot shoe will contact the center rail of a high rail switch, causing that car to operate when we don't really want it to. I'm going to show you how to make a minor change in the wiring on these cars that will eliminate this problem. All of Lionel's operating cars were operating either a solenoid or a magnet to cause whatever the desired motion was in the car. Either of these devices got its power by using the pickup shoes for the hot and the frame and the wheels of the car for ground. What we're going to do is rewire these cars so that instead of getting the ground from the frame of the car, we're going to cause the ground to come from one of the hot shoes and the positive to come from the other hot shoe. On this particular car, remove the screw which holds one end of the ramp in place, and remove the screw that holds the magnet and lift it out. Put some tape on this metal frame and around the edges of this slot so that this magnet is no longer getting its ground from the frame of the car. We already have one piece of tape here wrapped around the edge of this slot so that the screw or no part of the magnet can ground against the frame of the car. Now remember, you can't just put a piece of tape onto the frame of the car. You have to put it on there such that it goes on the frame and through the slot, like this, so that the screw won't get a ground even from the edge of the slot. Don't forget the end of the slot also. Now we want to remount the magnet, and we want to add one other important detail. We need to get an insulating washer to go under the screw head. And then the last thing we need to do on this car, of course, is to reinstall the barrel ramp. Regardless of whether or not your Lionel operating car had two hot shoes on it, all of them must have two hot shoes for this operation to work. One of the shoes needs to be wired directly to the hot side as it was on the original car. The other shoe needs to be wired to the outside case or the ground wire of the solenoid of the magnet. The yellow wire is the way it was installed at the factory, and here is our new wire coming from the other hot shoe to the ground side of the magnet here. Wrap a piece of electrical tape or slide some shrink tube over the solder connection so that there isn't any way that this magnet can get its ground from the frame of the car. But remember, because we've rewired the car, it will no longer work on a standard Lionel operating track. The reason it won't work with the Lionel track is under the Lionel scheme, both of the Lionel hot rails are positive and the mechanism got its ground from the wheels of the car and the frame. With our modifications, it no longer gets its ground from the frame, and instead the ground comes from this location. It comes from the other hot rail. So we'll supply ground on one and positive on the other. The bill of materials for this job is some gap-filling instant glue, a momentary push-button switch, a 3/32 diameter router bit for your Dremel tool, and 2 scrap pieces of anodized rail from a Gargraves track. The first thing you have to do is obtain a scrap piece of center rail from Gargraves track and cut that black anodized piece about 3 inches long. You'll need 2 of these. To begin the process, measure from the center rail out toward the side 5/16 of an inch and make a mark. Make that same mark about 3 inches away and about 5/16 of an inch out from the center rail again. Then connect those 2 lines across those ties, and that's where we're going to cut our slot. To cut the slot, come down to the pencil line you made and go across each tie like this. You want to cut the slot at approximately half the depth of the tie. Turn the tool vertically and clean out the bottom of the slot. Check to make sure that you've cut enough ties to cover the whole length of the rail. Now that we've cut our slot, we need to get a piece of the Gargraves rail. And you'll notice, if you look very closely here at the rail, that the bottom of it is flanged out. Well, we need to squeeze these 2 together, and that's pretty easily done with a pair of long nose pliers. When you finish it, you'll see a marked difference in them. They're spread apart like this when we start, and this is what it should look like when we're finished crimping them together. Now let's take some of our gap-filling glue, and we're going to put it into the slots that we just cut, like that. Then, using a pair of long nose pliers, pick up your rail and start it into the first tie, and then squeeze as you go down so that it falls in each tie's slot. It's important that you check this to make sure that this rail that you're installing is slightly higher than the other rails of the track. It should stick up out of the ties about 1/16 of an inch higher than the wheel rails. And then the last thing we want to do is close the ends of this rail down by tapping the sharp pointed top and rolling it down as we go, so that it provides a little bit of a ramp for that accessory shoe to ride up over. Now you can see the nice curved surface and ramp that will provide for that hot shoe to ride up on top of. When you put your second hot rail in, make the distance fit the car that you're going to use at that location. I've scraped the anodized coating from both of the rails. Now we're going to solder one wire from one rail to ground. And we're going to solder another wire onto this rail and take it over to a switch on the control panel. Now we've got operating cars that run very smoothly through high rail turnouts, and we've got them operating where we want them to operate.